to Inspira TV, where we create the fusion of the mind and the soul. I am your host, Paloma Greer. This is a show dedicated to raise consciousness, to provoke thought, and also to inspire others. Today, I have such an inspirational topic for you: life purpose. As we learned on our last episode, biofeedback sessions reveal a lot about you. Your life purpose, your blockages, your fears, and the causes of it. Well, today we're going to focus on life purpose. But before I take you there, let me refresh your mind and let me tell you what a biofeedback session is.
A biofeedback diagnose is a session that involves science, psychology, and spirituality. Using a state-of-the-art aura sensor device, a biofeedback can create a detailed portrait of your energetic state as it reflects on your auras, chakras, and thin bodies. This equipment combines the knowledge of ancient civilizations and advanced technology. Your energy report will show the evolution, the shape, and color of your aura, distribution of energies and their balance according to the yin-yang principle, their density and size. These characteristics reflect your emotional and physical condition at the time of the study, as well as your permanent individual inclinations, such as talents, challenges, aspirations, and energies that are building your near future.
Pretty cool, right? Who was gonna think that a biofeedback session would reveal so much about you, your soul, your energetic state, and whatnot? Today, we want to focus on finding our life purpose. I had the opportunity to speak to many celebrities. One of them was Gwen La Roca, which is a stand-up comedian from Chicago. And I also had the opportunity to speak to the legendary stand-up comedian, Paul Rodriguez. And this is what they told me about how they found theirs. Let's take a look. I am here with Gwen La Roca. She is from Chicago. What's up?
Yeah,
and she is a stand-up comedian and also an actress. Welcome to Inspira TV.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for giving us this few minutes of your time.
Of course, this is fantastic.
So exciting to talk to you. So I was telling you, Inspira TV, we're dedicated to raise consciousness, to provoke thought, to inspire others. And today we're talking about how do we find our life purpose. So tell me a little bit about how or when did you find out that you were a comedian and you were gonna serve your purpose through comedy?
It's interesting because we all grow up wanting to do 1,000,001 things. Que doctora, y que esto, y que el otro, and we all have those things. And slowly but surely, they fell off one by one. I wanted to be a doctor, an architect, and a comedian. I was always those three things. And then after a while, I was like, ain't nobody going to school that long for the doctor. I can't be doing all that. And then architecture, I took it I majored in that in high school. But then after a while, it was me quedé con ganas, which I still felt like something was missing. And the comedy, that's just natural to me. It's just, I was always the goof off. I was always playing jokes on my family and making people laugh and whatever. And I just figured, this is what I have to do. I just didn't know how to do it. So I was doing what a lot of us probably do, is just get that typical 9 to 5. And I was okay with that, but not really. We all kind of do what we have to do to pay bills.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what happened to me. I've been in this industry for quite some time, and there's a point in which, yeah, you have to pay the bills, you gotta get that 9 to 5, but it's kind of like the daytime job. But I guess the struggle to truly pursue your dream, right?
Yep.
Like, where do you stick? At what point of your life you say, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I'm gonna stick to it. What kind of challenges do you go through? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's crazy because I'm still going through the struggle. I still have my day job. Because of that very reason. It's hard to just go, I'm all in, and you're gonna do it, because we're creatures of habit. We feel we want that safety net, which who doesn't? We want to make sure we get paid, every other week or every week.
Yeah.
Exactly. But then you have to ask yourself, like, okay, we can do this all day, every day for the rest of our lives, but we only get one life. And at that point, it's like, it's sink or swim. I just got to the point where you just te tienes que aventar. You have to throw yourself out there and
just gotta jump.
Just take chances, because I know it sounds funny, but really, you guys, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die?
Hell no.
From doing the show at the court, because I was nervous as hell, but I'm like, what's the worst that's gonna happen?
You did great, by the way.
Thank you so much. But you know what, there's things like that, it's nerve-wracking, but I always say yes. Say yes to whatever opportunities come your way, and then worry about that later. I'm sorry, can I go?
No, you can correct, absolutely.
But then worry about it later. You know, it's better to say yes and then later behind closed doors be like, oh my God, what did I do?
Right.
Then for you to say no and be like, oh my God, I should have, I could have.
So what was some of the biggest fears that you faced pursuing your career? Because now you're at a point, you're performing right next to Paul Rodriguez.
I know, it's exciting.
It's huge. So what kind of challenges, what kind of fears did you have to face in order to get to where you are now?
The fear of the unknown, which I think all of us have. We're always scared of something. We really never know what it is, and maybe it's failure. Maybe we all have a fear of failure, but how could we ever prosper or progress or accomplish anything if we don't fail? What are we, perfect? We're not perfect.
Absolutely.
So you have to fail over and over and over again to gather the skill and to acquire the ganas and the confidence to just keep doing it.
So no matter what, just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do. Just keep fighting la lucha. You know?
Absolutely, and I think that we're all in the same game. We're all pursuing the same thing, right? What do you love doing? Are you really willing to keep on working your 9 to 5 for the rest of your life? I guess that's the question that we need to ask.
It's a gamble, but you got to do it.
Exactly. And what's your passion? Because most people that we ask, and actually we asked people earlier in the show, what is your passion? What is your life purpose? A lot of people didn't really know what their purpose was.
Because we're so busy making money because we have to pay the bill.
Right. Exactly.
So we don't even take time for our own sanity and our own mental health and our own, even with work, even if you are great and you love your corporate job, we're so stuck on doing it. When do you get time to realize my shoulder hurts? Right. Or my heart is bothering me, or something's on my mind.
Or my soul needs to be fed.
Yeah. We don't get those opportunities of that because we're too busy going. So
absolutely.
It's take a second, and I know it sounds cheesy, but be at home by yourself. Turn everything off, everything, and just sit with yourself and be okay with being with yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's all we have. Ourselves.
That is so beautiful. Oh my God, I love you. I want to hang out with you now.
Girl, let's do it, Paloma. Let's go. We're leaving.
And speaking of celebrities, we had the opportunity and the great honor to sit down with an amazing singer and spiritual guru, Blanche Blake. Dr. Marina Costa and I had the opportunity to get into her brain and be in her presence, and this is what she told us about finding our life purpose. Let's take a look.
Welcome to my segment, Wired at Heart. I'm your host, Dr. Marina Costa, a connections and energy expert. And today, I want to talk about life purpose, because one of the greatest things that the biofeedback session can reveal about you is your life mission and what are the main motivators that are truly yours. Because in this life, we come as souls to fulfill our true purpose. All of the things like our partner, career, money, they're important. But the most important thing for our overall happiness is finding our true calling. And today, I invite you for a very interesting interview with the chakra and spiritual guide, Blanche Blake. She's the owner of Chakra Shop, a spiritual center located in Chicago. And she has an incredible story to share. So let's see what her perception of life purpose is, shall we? You as the guru of the chakras, right? As the spiritual guide for over 22 years, and you have the shop for
I opened the shop in 2005, so 11 years.
11 years, right? So I want to ask you, what is your perception of life purpose for humans? Is this important? If it is, why it is important? What do you think about it?
Well, our souls are eternal. As eternal beings, our souls have been developing over time, some of us over centuries. And so we come into a new body, we come into this time-space reality already with our talents, with our dreams, with our desires, with our hopes, with essentially plans for what it is that we want to experience. So we already come in that way. Anyone who has had children will know that their children already have a personality. They come in already being who they are. Mm-hmm. So we already know our life purpose on a soul level when we come into the body.
Mm-hmm.
And that is actually revealed when we're very young, between the ages of, I would say, around 3, 4 years old. We start to show who we are, what we're here to do, what we're interested in, what we're supposed to be, and it all is already there. So it's interesting to me that we can get taken off track by well-meaning parents, by well-meaning authority figures who say, you should do this way, and you should be like this. And it's like, no, I'm who I am. I'm already who I am. And I'm already doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And a lot of people get off track.
And what happens to our energetic body, or maybe to our lives, when we are off track?
I would say it's essentially a third chakra thing. Those of your viewers who might not know what chakras are, it's the translator of spiritual energy into physical life. So we have this electricity that comes in from the cosmos that feeds our soul body. And so this soul body is actually the director of our physical life experience that connects with the mind. So they work together or oppose one another. So this energy comes in, and third chakra really is our sense of self. Our self-esteem, our self-confidence, our purpose center is this third chakra, which connects to our digestive system, which is our action in life and how we want to move forward on our journey.
To tell our viewers, so if your third chakra is, I don't know, underdeveloped, blocked, whatever the term you use, or if you're not living your life purpose, how does that affect you? What happens? Do you experience?
Well, mostly people are undecisive. They get confused. They don't know, well, what's the right choice? I don't know what the right choice is. Who am I and what should I choose? And they're looking over their shoulder at somebody else to tell them what to do. They're not aligned with, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I know the right choice right now. So there's a sense of confusion and indecisiveness.
Where does the life purpose come from?
We come in with it.
We come in with it.
For example, I'll talk about my own experience.
Yes, that would be very interesting.
When I was a child, everyone, when they're very young, 3, 4, 5 years old, starts to show who they are to the world. They be who they are. So at that time, I was creating multimedia theater and screening movies and singing and dancing and selling tickets to the neighbors and writing songs at the age of 5 years old. And when I had been doing this work about 5 years, my sister told me a story that I'd forgotten about. I've always communicated with the angels. It's something I've always done. But at the age of 6, she said she saw me in the park, and I was holding my hands over plants and squirrels and birds and chanting. All these chants were coming out of me. She said, oh my God, I just remembered when you were 6 and I saw you doing these things. And she said, I remember asking you, what are you doing? And you said, I'm singing the birds, I'm singing the trees, I'm singing the flowers. And in every shamanic tradition, a healing is called a sing. So my soul was already being who I came here to be.
Wow,
and I'd forgotten it. I had forgotten that. And often when little children are being who they're supposed to be being, and maybe they're ridiculed or misunderstood or told they're being wrong for that, then they shut down their own life purpose and get in that state of confusion. And it happens to a lot of us.
Interesting. But I also know that you've forgotten it, and maybe you found it in another area that it was not very spiritual, right? Because you were in LA, the singer, right?
Yeah. So it was using the voice.
Yeah, you were using the voice. So what can you tell us about that experience?
I've always loved to sing and perform. And I remember when I was 12, I looked in the mirror and I said, I want to save people with my voice.
Wow.
And of course I was imitating Mick Jagger, thinking that being a rock star would be it.
Yes.
So I pursued the avenue of rock and roll.
So where did you perform? It's kind of interesting. This is a big star right here.
I performed all over Chicago. I had a group called Fill in the Blanks in the 80s, and we performed at all the major clubs, Park West, some big shows at Poplar Creek at the time, and backed up artists like The Cure and big bands like that. So I had a rock and roll career, and
That's pretty
And,
cool.
yeah, we
But-
were the first on MTV, one of them.
Oh wow, that's pretty amazing. But I also know, and I'm sorry if this is too personal, but there was some event in your life where you almost near-death experience.
Yeah, in Los Angeles, I was had a band, was singing on the Sunset Strip, and got involved with some dark people. You know, attracted this dark energy into my life, and I was actually almost murdered. And in the hospital, I had a near-death experience where I felt my personality, leave the body.
Oh wow.
And I was up. I was up in the clouds, out the window, looking down at my body in the hospital bed. And I'll never forget what I felt and thought. I'm like, wow, I'm still me, and I'm not in that. I'm still me. So the soul personality remains the same after you leave the body. I mean, there's this perception that, oh, we suddenly become angels, or we're a different person when we leave the body, and it's not true. I remember thinking, wow, I'm still me, and I'm not in that.
And so if you're cranky in life, you will be cranky.
Well, exactly. So I was out there and floating, and it felt so amazingly good. The light and the singing, and it just felt so good. And I was floating up towards the heavens, essentially. And I heard in my mind's ear the sparrows were flying around, and they said, "You have to go back. You're not done. You have to find your path. You have to find your teacher. There's work for you to do here. You're not finished. Go back." And I'm like, oh, this feels so good. Whee! And I'm floating up to the heavens. And it was probably only like a minute.
Yeah.
And then they said again, no, you have to go back. Your mother needs you. You have to go back and move back to Chicago. And then my soul went, oh! And it was like a rubber band. It pulled me back into the body, and I went, oh! And then all the hospital people said, oh, she's back.
That is pretty incredible.
And I said, yeah, I am. I'm back. Here I am.
Do you think that was a time when you actually realized the spiritual?
Yeah.
Do you think it
That
was
connection,
the time?
that connection was made again.
Yeah,
and,
that you-
and my being able to communicate with the angels was reconnected.
And were you after that? Were you guided to do this kind of work?
Not right away.
Not right
I
away.
met my teacher, Joy Gardner-Gordon, and she did a healing on me similar to what I do now. It's a little different what I do now, but she called it vibrational alignment. And it's aligning the vibration of our soul to the physical life that we're leading. And so I was on the table and she was healing me. And all these chants started coming out of me. I started to chant myself out of the blue. And she said, wow, you're pretty much doing that yourself.
That's pretty.
And I invite you to learn from me, she said.
Voice is very important, and like, you know, we usually talk about finding your purpose is finding your voice in life too. But for you, voice is actually the voice,
It
right?
is.
Because you use voice.
I use it all day long, every
all day
day.
long. And is this connected in any way to the fifth chakra? So
Fifth chakra is our voice.
Is our voice? Could it be also connection with how we express ourselves?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the way we
Absolutely.
express ourselves to the world.
Yeah.
And I know you have an album now,
Yeah.
a new amazing. Hold on, I have to stop because we didn't do it. Sorry. And so I know that you got the new album out.
Yeah.
Amazing. You gotta check it out. I have it, and I actually, do you know that I do Zumba, and we do the cool down to your songs?
Oh, lovely.
I cannot get enough of this album.
So proud of this, and the songs are, you know, from the heart and inspired by romance and unrequited love, and it's called Out to Sea, and it's sort of, that's really the title of it says, you know, the songs are about longing and love, and some of the greatest Chicago jazz musicians are on there, and I feel so blessed.
Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your perspective. So what do you want to leave our audience with regarding their life purpose? What can they do to find it? Because most of us don't
Yeah,
have
we get off track, and I would say those who are looking at other people for approval, or the ego, I'll say the ego who wants to compare yourself to another, or oh, this is what I think I should do, and all those, you know, thoughts in our head, is to go back to when you were a child and remember what you loved and get back to that and look at that and say, hey, how can I take that, who I was being at 5 years old, and apply it today? Where can I take what I did then and make it work now? Because then the soul is impassioned. We get fired up by life. We can move into action. There's no depression. We're out there on our path going, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. I'm reclaiming my past and making it present day. Because here I am now. Here I am now. It's never too late. It's never too late to find out who you are and to apply it to today and to have happiness, joy, fun, and money. Why not?
And money
Why
is
not?
just energy, right? That
It's a
responds.
tool. It's a, you know, we plant our seeds, we grow our gift, we receive in return, and we share it with the world. And there's nothing better than that.
That's beautiful.
Nothing better than that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marina.
Welcome back to the studios here at Inspira TV. I am your host, Paloma Greer. How about finding your life purpose? What is it that you like? As Blanche Blake said, pay attention to what you love to do since you were little. What fulfills you? What ignites your passion? What is it that you would do without getting paid? That may be a good clue to start finding your life purpose. Coming up next, I had the opportunity to sit down with Paul Rodriguez. This is a legendary stand-up comedian, and this is what he told me about his experience finding his. Let's take a look. I am here at the Horseshoe Casino in Indiana, thanks to Univision Radio and our friends at Latin Scoop. We are here with a super exclusive interview with Paul Rodriguez. Thank you so much
My
for
pleasure.
being with us. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Inspira TV.
Well, I feel all inspiratado.
Inspiratao, I like that. And today we are exploring that topic to find out how do you find that life purpose.
It's like everything else, you have to have a passion for it, you know, whether you're a car mechanic or an airplane pilot or a comedian, it's all the same. The same recipe is you have to have a passion for what you do. People who are passionate about what they do it well, and if you do it well, you make money. And if you don't, you wind up on the unemployment line like me and Carlos Mencia.
Some of us have been there. So how did you find that passion? A lot of us are so distracted with the everyday life, with the 9 to 5, with the things that we have to do to just literally maintain our lives. At what point in your life do you realize that you do have a purpose, that you have a passion, and how do you pursue it?
Well, I think it comes from what kind of family you come from, you know. My family had a great sense of humor, but my father kept us all laughing all the time, you know. We weren't very serious about it. We took things as they came. We went through the same hardships as a lot of people do, but we dealt with it with humor, you know. So I think I knew I was going to do this from the day I could remember, you know. I've been very lucky, which is another thing you need in this business, in any business. You have a little bit of luck, you know.
What are some of the challenges that you went through to get to where you are now? And I know you have had a very, extended career. You started many years ago, but what are some of those challenges that you had to stand up to in order to get to where you are now?
Well, there's a lot of people who are going to be very supportive, you know. There's people who are going to say, if you tell them, I want to be a comedian, I want to go to Hollywood, I want to do movies, they don't support you. They go, that's low, but like you're going to do it. Nobody else has done it. How come you're going to do it? But you can't worry about those people, you know. There's negative people in everything, but, you just have to have faith in yourself mainly. You know, you have to believe in yourself. Even if the world doesn't believe in you, you believe in yourself. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what matters. Everybody can say what they want about you, but only you can decide what you're going to do with you. I always had my eye on the prize. I always knew that one day I'd wind up at the Horseshoe Casino, playing the main room and making people laugh. And my dream came through, and yours should too. It depends how bad do you want it. I just wanted it more than anybody else I know. It's something that you have to nurture a child. I have children. I try to tell my kids that they are as good as anybody else, probably even better. And it has proven successful. Both my kids are going to do great things in this world, and they're doing good things now. I think it's how you raise your kids. If you raise your kids saying how stupid you are, how dumb you are, you're no good, they will live up to that expectation. If you tell your kids that they're dumb and they're not going to get nowhere, that's what they'll be. They'll be dumb and get nowhere. I think it's a fault of the parents. You have to stimulate your kids. You have to say, Yes, you're here for a reason. Your life has a purpose. You're going to be somebody. I know I'm depending on you. I'm looking out for you. You're going to do great things with your life. And it has proven to be so. I think not just my kids, but anybody's kids. If you tear them down, you're not going to expect nothing. You can't ask a kid to talk to them really bad and then expect them to be doctors or lawyers or something. You have to lift them up. That's what we're here for. You know, my father came from very humble beginnings, but he knew that his children would not wind up that way. My father says maybe we were born on the wrong side of the tracks, but one day we're going to be the tracks. You know, we're going to be the destination. And I just grew up believing that I was going to make sure that I didn't disappoint them. And today, I'm here, people.
Living the dream.
Yes, I am.
That's right. So it doesn't matter where you come from, your ethnic background, your limitations, your current limitations, it does not mean anything. It's about the vision that you have in staying.
Yeah, I've always had this saying that it doesn't really matter where you come from, it's where you're going that's important.
What an inspirational episode. Do you agree? We had the opportunity to speak to so many successful celebrities, and they gave us a clue as to how to find our life purpose. Just remember, we're here temporarily. This world is really just a platform for us to fulfill our life mission. And we hope to be able to bring a little bit of inspiration to find yours. If you want to book a personal biofeedback session with our Energy and Connections expert, Dr. Marina Costina, just shoot us an email right at the bottom of the screen, or you can also send a text to the number right here. Well, that's all for me today. I am your host, Paloma Greer, and remember, feed your mind, feed your soul, and stay inspired. Until next time.
My reasons for living seem to coincide with the playing field, the place where the outside world let me be, the lone wolf of these parts, the leader of my family peppered with death and loss, poised to be something more, if not more, than my father. Life can be cruel as much as it can be misunderstood. Why am I here? Believing I'm invincible is the same as being naive. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Sometimes I felt less than. I wanted to give up. What was the point? Who cared? I was a burden. Why did I survive? Why me? There is no answers in my darkness. Alone and forgotten, I was forced to look inside, finding the me beyond the injury, the person I was meant to be. In the whirlwind of chaos, I found the light that was my worth leading my way. Shook from my slumber with only memories of the past, crying out for a reason, and that reason was me. If life was a game, I was sent back to restart, rediscover, reinvent something new, something unique. Within the fog of confusion, the tears dried, and the metamorphosis had begun. Mind, body, and spirit rebuilt from the core, while the world is yet to feel the tremors bubbling underneath. Judge not by appearances, certain, self-assured, powerful, with every word I speak.